and welcome to another installment of Schiffbauer Over Rocks. I feel like I say this all the time, but I'm especially excited today. I have friend, colleague, Baltimore laureate, Harford Hopson here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Oh,
And I had to come bringing gifts.
You brought gifts. We're about to set precedents today.
I do. I bear gifts. So first, I brought this over from the Kremlin. This is Russian Standard.
We got
vodka.
Russian Standard.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to crack that open.
Yeah. Pour yourself a shot. It's really smooth. I promise you.
Shout out to Vlad.
So get this. There's a market that's up in Pikesville, Owings Mills. I go up there from time to time. Straight Russian market. That's where they get it.
There's an actual Russian market?
There's an actual Russian market.
Like
there's a ton of them. There's dozens of Russian markets.
I didn't know that was a thing. I know like Jewish delis and you got your bodegas, but Russian markets.
Yeah, everybody speaks Russian in there.
Right there.
It's yeah, an incredible selection. I hear good things about this vodka, so I bring this to you.
Bearing gifts.
And also,
what else do we have here?
Also, Boiler Room on DVD.
You hear that?
Boiler
DVD.
Room on DVD.
I love Boiler Room.
Has got Giovanni Ribisi leading, Vin Diesel, and Nia Long. The cast on this shit is incredible.
And you got Ben Affleck in an iconic cameo.
A very funny rant that Ben Affleck does, and he's just playing himself at that point.
He just wants a fucking $1 million.
Yeah, this is like it's like the Wall Street before Wall Street, the Wolf of Wall Street before Wolf of Wall Street,
is.
Right?
Yeah.
They throw a whole bunch of Biggie tracks on there, and like throughout the audio, it's great. You have to let me know when you watch that.
No. I went to revisit that right now. Not right now, but like tonight. Sorry, it was a very long night. We're back on the podcast again. We're having we're setting precedents today. Got bearing gifts from Harford and drinking Busch lattes.
Yeah.
It's that kind of morning.
Yeah.
Recording here. Let's get into a little bit more about you. So Harford is a writer, but I want you to talk about what you do more than importantly than anything.
What I do, I just write a lot. I went to school for journalism. I went to Temple, which has a great program for journalism. And during my time there, it occurred to me that I wanted to write stories, and so I did. I just sat down and I wrote stories about the people that were around me, my friends at the time, about the things that that we were doing, the things that I was seeing and whatnot. And somewhere along the way, like I really started to kind of take it seriously once I started to see what kind of reaction my stuff garnered. Mm-hmm. I would take it into workshops and whatnot with people who were decades older than I am, and who had been doing it for much longer, and they had good things to say, and they told me to keep going, and so I kept going, and then so I kept writing, and then somewhere along the way, you and I met, mm-hmm. and then we embarked on the journey of writing Amusement Only. It's a novel.
Shameless plug.
That I co-authored. Yeah. A crime caper about the gambling industry in Baltimore, right? But yeah, so ever since like college, really, it's a funny thing, man. I hated literature and books when I was in school.
Really? I did not know that.
I hated them. Couldn't stand them. I mean, you're reading about what? What's the Holden Caulfield one, right?
Catcher in the Rye.
Catcher in the Rye, right? Salinger's got great work. J.D. Salinger's got great work.
He's hard.
Outside of that. But at the time, like me in the suburbs and reading Catcher in the Rye, I don't really understand what private school is. You know what I mean? So
it's hard to relate.
It's very hard. It was very hard to relate and understand. Everyone's smoking cigarettes, and well, before I smoked cigarettes. And it wasn't relatable. And frankly, like in terms of like, you want to talk about whether you think racial relations are good or bad now, whatever opinion you have is your opinion. But even To Kill a Mockingbird, I feel like that shit's outdated.
You heard it here first.
Like,
honestly, it's It's kind of sucks.
It's hard for me to say because I slept through it. I can't really say whether it sucks or not because like
we're gonna get so much flack for that.
Yo, the thing is honestly, I don't know whether I can't attest to it, whether it sucks or not. I just think that if we're talking about race relations, especially America, you know what I mean? Like there's so much more material out there that we can consume for our younger people who are in school right now as opposed to something that happened, when it came out in like the 50s or 60s, somewhere like that.
I believe so.
Yeah. And yeah, so that's, yeah.
Yeah, in all seriousness, I really feel like there's literature and pieces of work out there that are more culturally relevant and it could have bigger impact.
Yeah.
So why are we still spoon feeding children through, K through 12, the same literature we've been spooning them 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years?
Agreed. And that's the thing. It's like I'd always felt like the literature in school, it was they kind of want to tell you the truth. They kind of want to pull the veil, from over your face, but they don't. And it's kind of like a half-hearted effort. It's like, dude, like you look around when you're in school, if you're in high school right now, even if you're in middle school, I mean, you probably know like 3 girls that are pregnant.
Yeah.
Like young people are dealing with real shit.
Yeah. Whatever you like it or not, it's the honest truth.
Yeah. So I don't know. We need to it would be better to just like really prepare them and just, give them with the material that we're teaching them the good advice instead of, trying to circumnavigate around, the serious issues.
On that note, let's take a shot. I know we got into it before we really could enjoy this Russian standard.
Yeah.
But I want to go further on that.
That's smooth, yeah.
Very smooth.
Yeah.
Wow, I might start drinking that on the reg.
I tell you just where to get it. But yeah.
You might pass me over another bush?
Yeah, of course.
Perfect. In terms of literature, cultural relevance, in your opinion, what kind of works would you want to see children reading? Or just in general, people digesting and consuming to be aware of those kind of issues? What's more relevant, you feel like, today?
To be aware of the issues? Oh, God.
That's a loaded question.
It really is. Because I find myself really reading, because I'm not really in the contemporary literature yet, because we're still very much young people. So I'm doing my due diligence to just catch up on the stuff that's been written before us already. But I don't know. There's a ton of stuff out there that you can that you could get into. I mean, there's Jean Genet, who's this French writer who he wrote most of his stuff in prison.
Interesting. Okay.
And it's difficult reads, but I find what got me hooked and invested into it is that he kind of works the poetry into it. So it's not just so literary and so flat seeming. There's a whole lot of stuff out there that doesn't have a lot of juice. And what I mean by that is just the chapter 1 starts out, or the chapter 2 starts out, and it's just like the plain was dusty. And the sun set over the horizon and da 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 da. That's like the conventional standard that a lot of books start out with for some reason.
It's like you got to read 3 chapters before it gets good.
Yeah.
Why is that got to be the case?
Yeah, and it doesn't exactly have to happen that way. I think before, people had more time on their hands, and that was fine. But,
it was a standard too.
Yeah, but to come back to more to the question, what got started for me was movie books. Okay. People love movies.
Yeah, they do.
And you're in high school and middle school, you go to the movies, and everyone likes their own movies, whether you're an avid moviegoer or not. Movie to book adaptations, you watch your movie and then you start reading the books, and there's a lot of people like to say that the books are always better than the movie. Well, I mean, go and explore that. I mean, I saw when I first was really getting into reading when I was in college, it started out with Fight Club. It's unpopular. The popular.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Fight Club's great.
That's an unpopular thing. Not yeah.
It's a top 10 film of mine personally.
Yeah. Gone Girl. Just and I'm not saying that like those issues are really pressing, but just to get I don't know, just get people a sense of, well, that's maybe not true, because Gone Girl is like, you can make an argument that like that was about like mental health.
Yeah, like it's heavy,
which is like, you know,
it's a very dark and it's very romanticized in a way.
Yeah,
the narrative, but it's very relevant.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just crazy where you have a couple, what seems to be a perfect, healthy relationship, and then over time it deteriorates, and you find out who your partner really is.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, I look, a lot of people, a lot of a lot of children have parents who are going through divorce,
mm-hmm.
or they are divorced, or they or they separate. Like, what does that look like when we get to learn about what that looks like in entertainment and art in a classroom setting, where it's taught, where it's, because some of these kids, your parents get divorced and you really have no answers. You really don't know what to make of it. I wonder what that would look like if given the chance to explore the psychology of it, maybe. Because I took there was a psych class that they offered in high school. It was great. Let's talk about things.
Yeah. And I feel like it's really interesting. We're in an age of, we can put our opinion anywhere, and people post whatever they want, showcasing their life, their narrative, their opinion. But are we really talking about real things?
No, I don't think so. There was there was one book in particular that I read a while ago. It's called To Serve with Love. This was Sidney Poitier. Okay. This was in the 80s, I think it was, where he was the movie was based off of the book. And this guy, he was a teacher in London in the East End. And he black. He was like an African transplant from maybe the West Indies area. I may be fudging that, but anyway, he's teaching these white kids in this class, and that was a film about. I mean, that's so long ago now, but still pretty relevant today. But what the things that he was going through at the time, and all the socioeconomic issues between, and classism between who he was and who his students were and whatnot. It's like a weird thing. I'm getting political now because
we can
get political now because that's the thing. It's like, I think it's crazy that most people don't realize that you have impoverished white folks and impoverished black folks, and they really are concerned with the same issues. And there are so many stories that we have where we see that they're dealing with the same things, but it's just this weird, we're in this weird space right now where it seems like there's, cellophane between us and we can't really connect. There's a ton of stories out there that shows, the merging of that. And that's what I think that's what I think we ought to be learning.
Yeah, that's deep. It's just really fascinating from that context. Rather, it's, you really don't hear those stories.
No,
or you may, but it's almost like an old tale version of them. What's really impacting these issues right now, and what's really relevant. So it's a lot of times it's you don't see the full narrative of all sides considered.
Yeah.
So it would be very fascinating. I think more importantly than fascinating, I think very important that those stories are told and expressed, not just in the media, but literature, entertainment as well.
Yeah. We live these stories every day, man. Mm-hmm. But it's just who's going to talk about it?
That's a good point. Well, that being said, I think we need another.
You're gonna take another. He likes.
I want to take another Russian standard. We got really heavy there for a moment.
Yeah,
well, I like it though. This is why Schiffbauer rocks. No holds bar.
Yeah,
everything's relevant.
Well, we have a relationship, and that's. I think that's obvious. So that's yeah, of course.
Oh, sorry, we're just pouring shots here. So please forgive us for the delay.
Yeah.
But with that being said, how do you feel like writing impacts the business world?
God, that's another loaded question too. It impacts it in a lot of ways. If you want to talk about like in terms of purely literary, in short, it could be that like I don't know. I see a lot of literary publications that are dying.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as to exactly why, I would imagine because of the digital age. I'm sure there's other factors as well, but also in I don't know. It's like whatever successes take place it's because it's just bound to happen. I think in a capitalistic society, it's whatever gains you make, you're taking away from somebody else, and I don't think that that's wrong. But I like so if you want to boil it down to somebody like the literary field is kind of taking a hit, I think.
Okay.
But in terms of television, which
it's at all-time high.
Yeah, in which, I might have mentioned it to you before, but James McBride, I was telling him about my MFA programs or whatever, and he was like, trying to get into a creative writing MFA program, and he's like, you should just try to do screenwriting, which is not something that you want to hear from somebody who's respected in the literary field.
Yeah, he's a very accomplished New York Times bestselling author.
Yeah,
and he's literally telling you straight up, fuck lit, go to TV.
Right. And this is somebody who and this is somebody who made his mark, writing books. And he won a National Book Award for the Color of Water, I think it was called.
I believe you're correct on that one.
And then so he wrote another book, the Miracle at St. Anna. And then
it's a great adaptation too.
Spike Lee. And then Spike Lee adapted it, and he co-wrote I believe he co-wrote the screenplay. I might be fudging that as well. He co-wrote this in some way with Spike Lee. So
we can get Jordan to fact check that one.
All right, yeah.
Jordan, can you verify if James McBride co-wrote the screenplay of A Miracle in Santa Ana? Or At Santa Ana?
Yeah.
You're on it? Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, Jordan.
Okay, confirmed. Thank you.
Right. Great.
That was an all-time record. We're just setting precedence today.
Yeah, this is great. This is really official.
Let's take this right now.
Let's do this.
Jordan's not
Tava.
just an audio engineer, producer. He also is our resident fact checker.
Yeah. So he tells me, fuck literature, do screenwriting.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, but it's good in a way because, he because more people in TV are getting opportunities, and there's more content that is being put out there. And for lack of a better term, there's a new TV show that is being made every week. I watch football on the weekends. We watch CBS. We're Ravens fans.
Go Birds and not the Eagles. Dirty Birds.
Yes. The Rat Birds.
Yes. Lamar Jackson is elite. I hope I do not jinx you by the time this gets released.
I have a good feeling about it, but we'll talk about that later.
Oh, yes. We'll get into that.
But so more people are getting, we watch the games on CBS, and there's another show about, there's another dancing show. Have you seen that show? The promo for that show with the masks, and they're like dancing now. Yeah,
it's like celebrities, like who's behind the mask, and they're singing and dancing.
Who's behind the mask?
Antonio Brown was on it last season. Yeah. R.I.P.
Who's behind the mask?
That's fucked up.
It is it's not. It's true. Fuck Antonio Brown.
Fuck Antonio Brown.
But it's just like these shows are getting made. Like regardless of how you feel about the show, I have my opinion about those kind of shows. But the point is, content. There's a massive amount of content that's being put out there. There's a new show on CBS about attorneys or lawyers or cops or whatever the fuck it is every week. So people are getting so much more.
Baton Rouge PD. I just made that up.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But it's like literally in the same vein.
Yeah. And you just, and you wonder, but, there's a ton of opportunities for writers out there. It all takes writing, even those dancing shows. I hope you saw Sean Spicer on Dancing with the Stars.
I haven't seen the clip yet. Is he going to outlast Ray Lewis, though? That's a real question.
I don't know, but he got a higher score than Lamar Odom.
I didn't even know.
That's fact.
I didn't even know Lamar Odom was on that show.
Lamar Odom, it's a wonderful cast this season.
I'm very happy for Lamar Odom. How he essentially has come back to life, literally.
Yeah.
No pun intended.
He lived a very rough life. Yeah.
I can't believe he survived the whole brothel incident.
I don't even know all that goes into it. I suppose he did his best Dennis Rodman impression.
I can't believe we're just going on a tangent here, but it's okay. I can't believe Dennis Rodman is like pals with the premier of North Korea. Honestly,
yeah.
How's that happen?
Well, he said that Kim Jong-un is going to come to America within the next 18 to 24 months. That's a fact. He said that.
If he does, wow. War and peace.
Funniest, even a funnier story. Kim Jong-un. I read this article on Politico. It was a great long form piece, but it's going to take like 45 minutes of your time because it's long form. When he was growing up, I think he went to a private school in Switzerland. He is a big basketball fan.
Kim Jong-un. Hence Dennis Rodman connection.
Yeah. He grew up, he was a young boy in the late 80s and early 90s, I think. So he had this huge obsession and fascination with the Bulls and Michael Jordan. Excuse me. And so the story, the long form piece, it talked about his time when he was at this private school and how he just like had a huge obsession and fascination with, he would just wear his little Michael Jordan jersey over his pot belly while he went to school in I think it was Zurich in Switzerland. But yeah, that's about as far as I can tell you. But it's hilarious.
The fact that he went to school in Sweden and it had a little pot belly with all these sweet kids and probably all these multimillionaire. Switzerland, I should say. Apologies. Fact check. Boom.
Yeah. But yeah, he's an interesting guy. I'll say that.
I can only imagine the psychology of being like the world's most like infamous dictator.
I can't. I've seen maybe not a full documentary, maybe just part of the documentary, but the way that they orchestrate those press conferences when he's being televised and filmed, like those military parades, they coach all of those people in the audiences to like cry, like after, like when it was like something that happened when he came to power and because somebody died. Maybe it was his dad.
It's his father, I believe.
Right. So the military parade, which like showed the transition of power, and he's like walking through this large group of people, and all of these people in the crowd are just like bawling hysterically, but it's all fake.
It's like wow,
like they set this shit up to just make it like
that's incredible
because it's state TV.
Yeah, that's incredible. Honestly, from just like a marketing like PR standpoint, like this is your brand. We're going to position everybody in the crowd like this. Yeah. We're just going to fucking run it. They're going to cry and weep for you.
Yeah. And to even, this is my feeble attempt to wrap this up to close that thread.
Yeah, we're monologuing right now.
I wonder what the writing business is even like in North Korea. I can imagine.
Could you imagine? Yeah. Like you're writing for essentially the Supreme Leader. Can you imagine that role?
It's like you're writing SNL.
like the Alec Baldwin, like Donald Trump's like sketches. That's like literally what you'd be doing.
Yeah, because you're writing sketches. Like
it's
everybody,
all hyperbole.
Yeah, and it's like nothing's real. Everyone has to be in their place and do these things. The only difference is they take it seriously, and we laugh at it on Saturday nights.
But it's real life over there, and it's really fucked up if we really think about it. We're talking about some really fucked up things on this podcast today, but I kind of like it.
Hey,
real and gritty.
Yeah, this is it's the nature of the beast. This is what this is an unpopular thing to talk about, but
let's go.
I do write conservative news, right?
You need to talk more about this. Yeah,
I write conservative news, and I will just leave it at that. So I'm around politics every day, and I'm highly concerned with the nature and the scope of politics. So that's yeah.
So you were face to face with. We won't go further than that. I just want to touch on that briefly.
I was face to face with kind of at CPAC, the political conference that is it's in DC every year, and yeah, he spoke on a Saturday night. This was at the National, close to here actually, because we are in Columbia.
We are in Columbia, Maryland.
Yeah, it's at the National Gallery.
Shout out to Hoko.
Yeah, it was in the National Gallery, and just big policy wonks from the conservative news media, like from the right. They all come and they get together for this big conference, and they talk about how how the left is bad, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
We understand all the cliches here.
Yeah, each side does it.
Exactly, on both sides. And so spoke on, I think, that Saturday, and I was there for a weekend. He spoke on that Saturday, and he said all the things he was supposed to say. I looked directly into his eyes. He actually is.
I'm just thinking of that movie with Keanu Reeves and like Al Pacino right now, with Devil's Advocate.
Oh, I didn't. And Charlize Theron. I have not seen that movie. I have not seen that whole movie yet.
That's a good one.
My mom, she was telling me all about that movie. She's seen that movie. She recommends it as well.
Shout out to Harford's mom.
Yeah, Teresa Hopson. I love her. So I was there for a weekend. Saw Trump actually came on Sunday.
Did not know he was at CPAC.
Yeah,
I feel like he would be though.
We didn't know that he was going to come until maybe like that Friday, and he just announced it because he was coming back from somewhere overseas. I forget where. This was back in March. And so he came, but I ended up leaving before he came. I think Trump, when he came, he spoke for like 2 hours. It's just like that's a long time
for him.
Man. Like
I mean,
and he's just like, he's pretty much just probably saying the same things over and over again. Like, I don't have 2 hours for that. But anyhow, so it was great. The policy, the conference, it was great. It was a fun time. I enjoyed myself. I saw people. It's interesting to see people that you cover and that you've been following for so long in person, and to actually see them in the flesh. There was somebody from CNN who confronted, or no, there was a conservative activist who confronted a CNN reporter who was there at the time. And I saw this happen in the media pulpit. That was hilarious.
In person.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so interesting.
Oh, I saw too. Had to mention him because he's hilarious.
Very interesting.
He is hilarious. I don't even know what to say about him other than the fact that he is just an old Southern white lady.
Stop. I don't know how I feel about honestly.
That's the thing. It's funny because in politics, everybody's just trying to scratch each other's backs.
Yeah, and a big back scratcher.
Exactly.
Between John McCain and now John McCain's dead, and he's like switching like policies all of a sudden. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, we heard you talk about the sound. We heard your sound bites like when you were running for president against Trump,
which is hilarious.
And
honestly,
now you love him all of a sudden. I understand it.
It's a game.
I understand it because it's politics, but
political strategy is really interesting. Fun fact, I almost majored in poli-sci, and in an alternate universe, I wouldn't be on this podcast right now. I would be probably working for some kind of campaign down in DC. But
why'd you decide against it? What happened?
I think it's more profitable to get in business for myself.
Yeah.
So hence why, I went to college for business admin degree, started a startup, and now consulting, and I keep doing fun things like this in my free time. Ooh, excuse me. That's very rude.
Yeah, that's all right. Drinking Russian Standard and Bush, that happens.
But ironically, I work with a subcontractor. Shout out to John. The fact he has a background working in
John?
another John.
No, John. Okay.
I call him Digital John.
Okay.
He's like an enigma.
All right.
He's gonna watch this and he's gonna just smile when he like hears this bit. But originally from Louisiana, in the same kind of marketing consulting field, but like he ran like political campaigns down there.
Yeah.
It's so interesting how political strategy coincides with business strategy and like marketing strategy. Like the crossovers are very, very relevant. Mm-hmm. It's almost interchangeable.
In what way?
It's just politics. Mm-hmm. Every politician has their own brand. So it's essentially like how to advocate what's the best brand for this politician. How do I best get the message out that I'm advocating when I'm running for whatever particular office it is to the masses? Market myself, position myself where, okay, like I'm gonna get elected. Same aspects of business, how you differentiate and position yourself is very similar to politics and campaigns in that retrospect.
All right.
I find it very interesting. I think I'm going to run for mayor of York or lobby behind somebody at some point.
I mean, hey, local politics is and we'll never, the fucked up part about it is we'll never figure it out. And like, we'll never get a mass of people to figure it out.
No, absolutely not.
But local politics is so much more important than on the federal level. And no one knows this. And no one cares. Exactly. It's like what you do. It's like where you live. It's like wherever you live, man. Like, you know, the decisions that your local parliament makes, it you know, those factors,
they have ripple effects.
Yeah, those factors just mean more to you more immediately than what is going on a higher level. It's like if we can get, I mean, I'm not by any way implying that if we solve, you know, local politics that we'll get to the root of, you know, that we'll, you know, then we'll fix it on a federal level. But if we pay more attention to what our people in our own local jurisdictions are doing, I think that goes a long way to more prosperity for the people involved anyway.
No, I attest to that. I definitely agree.
Community. It's weird. It's something that we don't, you know. And I say this too. I've never voted locally either.
So, really? Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean,
but I'm aware, but it's true. I don't pay much. I know who, you know, I'm living in Baltimore now, so I understand who, you know, locally, you know, who the people are in place, and, you know, representatives and whatnot, but I still haven't voted. So it's like, you know, it's, yeah, it's one of those things.
Talking about Baltimore, how do you feel about a city, and how do you feel about it as like just in general business opportunities from an industry standpoint? We'll start with the city aspect though.
Oh, well, I think they're both positive, to be quite frank with you. Baltimore is coming up.
I agree with you on that. Regardless of all the negatives, ugly aspects you hear in the media.
Yeah, that's just hyperbole that Baltimore will probably never
shed. It's a stigma.
Exactly.
Shout out to the Wire.
Yeah. And honestly, as you know, city wise, I have living there for about coming back there, being born there, moving up to central Pennsylvania, and then moving back there and living there now as an adult. City wise, I've come to try to understand what kind of people we are. And to a certain degree, it's just all about the hustle, man. Like I see what people are doing there. You know, people are doing 2 and 3 things and 4 things at a time. Whether they're making music and they're also bartending, or they're like our guy Spates. I was having a conversation with him.
Spates is a great guy. Shout out to the Crab Shack.
Yeah.
She's got crabs. Zach Spates.
She's got crabs. That's the plug.
Plug.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hit him up like you just got shout out on the podcast.
Yeah, she's got crabs, right? So I was talking to him, and even though he doesn't live in Baltimore, but he's familiar enough with the area. But like these people just have so many different ventures that they partake in at one time, and this is all in spite of whatever shitty circumstances that life gives them.
Yeah.
And that is that. So that is like, in terms of like the people there, perhaps resilient, probably still angry, but
resilient.
A right to be. I think that they have that we have a right to be.
Anger is a good motivation.
Yeah. Tom Brady got drafted in the 6th round and he was pissed, right?
Yeah. I mean, he is the GOAT. Fuck the Pats. Fuck Boston.
Yeah, I don't give a damn about any of them. But I mean, his work ethic is like he took.
It's admirable.
Yeah, he took anger and he took his his situation, whatever you want to call it, and he made something of it. But in terms of business, I see now. I might not have an answer as to what exactly Baltimore makes its money on and what is actually advantageous for business people to do in Baltimore. But I damn sure know that every time that I go down to the harbor or that I go anywhere on the outskirts of town, I see people building. And that's progress. And that is always important. That tells me something. That people are moving there. And that I think people are moving there at a very rapid rate.
Regardless of like you see these articles, people are fleeing Baltimore City. It's awful. Da-da-da-da.
Yeah, and honestly, I think maybe people are. They might be, but people are still moving in.
You have another influx of people coming in.
Yeah.
Young professionals.
Right. So you have to tell the whole story there. Like there is always a sense of flight that is in Baltimore. I mean, I speak to, Black folks, and because I'm a product of it. When I was young, my family, they say, you get your money and you get enough money, and then you move to a nicer area. So that accounts for some of the flight. But, there's still young professionals that, throughout that duration of the flight who are, we're going to areas like Reisterstown, Owens Mills, and, the outskirts of the city. But there's still people that are moving into downtown, young professionals, that because something's happening here.
There's something going on.
There's something happening
here. There's good stuff going on.
I might not know exactly what it is, but something's going on.
There's enough going on where it's worthwhile for people to essentially transplant in and work and live in Baltimore City.
Yeah,
exactly. The area.
Yeah. I mean, we still have Johns Hopkins, which is, I don't know, I suppose that might be the best hospital in all of America.
It's internationally known.
Yeah. Like, there's things going on here in Baltimore that won't get the due coverage that they deserve, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because, I don't necessarily know that we want to be, people living in Baltimore, I don't know if they want to be, the next Austin, Texas.
Which is fine. You want to be Baltimore.
Yeah.
Its
or
own
the
thing.
next Nashville.
Yeah. Which is always the hot button issues you see on like Business Insider. Like Austin's booming.
Yeah.
For these reasons. XYZ.
Right.
Click on this article.
But I read Reddit, I've read the Austin, Texas Reddits. The people there, they say that it's overcrowded now. So
really? I love Austin. I've visited once, but it was a great time.
Was that for South by, or was that for the film fest, or was that
it was actually it's called RTX. My brother is a YouTuber, real big in that community.
Yeah, shout out to Matty Stacks.
Matty Stacks.
Yeah.
Shout out to you. So he's like, hey, I'm gonna go to this RTX. Like it's a great little like festival for like YouTubers, all that good stuff. I'm like, hey, I'll go. It'd be fun. Go to RTX. I had a blast. So they had a bunch of different panels, different bunch of YouTubers. I didn't really know them. My brother knew them. He's more in that community. He's 5 years younger than me. In that regard too, just like the city, restaurants, the cultural avenues they had. It was great for me. Like, it's like we went to saw a movie theater that was really, on the up and up, right down the street from where we stayed, like right by the convention center.
Yeah.
Great restaurants, and all in all, it had a great like cultural and arts district. So I enjoyed Austin from when I was there, from a pure tourist standpoint.
Yeah. Would you move there though?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I'll probably travel again.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
But
Been once. I will go back.
Yeah.
I definitely want to do like a Don Draper-esque road trip at some point. And just like drive and go down from East Coast and wrap through the Southwest and West Coast.
Yeah.
I'll take like 2 or 3 months and just like work remotely.
The only, I think the comparable, I guess, experience I had was I was in Portland.
Mm-hmm.
And that is Portland. I don't really know. I don't know anything about Portland. I think that disclaimer needs to be said. But
is it like Portlandia for people out there?
What's funny is that people. There is a another plug. There's a tea shop that's down the street from where I live at in Baltimore called Pillion Tea. I love them. They have great tea.
Great tea. We're at you on
just found out Jordan likes oolong. So yeah, if you're
out to Jordan.
If you're ever in Baltimore, Jordan, you got to go to Pillion Tea and get oolong tea. It's good stuff. But they came over here from Portland. It's this couple who
interesting.
Yeah, they opened up shop in, speaking of businesses, opened it up in Baltimore. There were no, and they might have been in Baltimore just as long as I've been living there in my adult life.
Yeah,
and they came over here because there was a void in tea shops in Baltimore. So they came over here from Portland. And they had mentioned, they had their take on Portland and the reasons why they came over here.
Yeah.
I won't say them because I don't know if they're comfortable with me sharing that. But I was in Portland, and what I've heard from people who are in Portland or that around that area, that Eugene is actually really like a lot weirder. Like that's that's the weird, like, where the Ducks play, right?
Yeah.
That's the real like Portlandia, like in Eugene, Oregon. And I've never been to Eugene, so I can't attest, but that's all I know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's Oregon for you.
Yeah. I was actually, the only thing I really did, I was there for a literary conference in Portland. So I didn't really get to see as much of Portland as I did. I saw the Moda Center where the Blazers play, right?
Shout out to Blazers, Damian Lillard. Get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I feel differently about Damian Lillard now though these days.
Really? Well, why so? We're getting NBA talk right now. I like this.
Because he, I think I would label him a choker at this point.
Ooh, I mean, it's hard to go against that in playoffs. He just doesn't show up.
He's non-existent, and I'm tired of it because we needed him when it mattered most against teams like, we try to defeat Golden State.
Fuck Golden State. Fuck Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
We're not Kevin Durant's fans here at the Schiffbauer Rocks podcast.
No, we very much know this about each other already. We are not Kevin Durant supporters at all. We'll see what he does in Brooklyn, though. It'll be interesting.
He probably tear his ACL again or something.
We should go to a game, though.
We should go.
I've never been to a Brooklyn game, but I've wanted to go, but they haven't had a team.
Now they will in a year here when he gets back.
Yeah, I would go. I'd go see Kevin Durant and Kyrie, right?
Yeah, even if it is fuck Kevin Durant, it'd be entertaining.
Yeah,
to see a Brooklyn game.
Yeah,
see him play like the Wizards or something. Shout out to John Wall.
That's another person I cannot support. But yeah, and we've really gone down the rabbit hole here, haven't we?
It's been fantastic. We're just going to keep rolling and rolling.
Yeah. Who is going to win the championship in the NBA this year?
I think LeBron's going to have his last great year. I think the Lakers are about to fucking do work.
Do you think they can beat the Clippers though?
Oh, I think they beat the Clippers. Kawhi's good.
Kawhi's bad.
That was beautiful. What they did against Golden State. It was poetic.
What they did, yeah.
It was poetic. I don't know. This Anthony Davis, if LeBron can get the best out of him, it's gonna be very scary.
What about the rest of that team though? That concerns me.
It's the X factor.
Yeah.
I really like Kyle Kuzma as your third, wheel essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Like Kyle Kuzma, he's inconsistent. He's still young, but like he can put up 20, 25 in a night. Won't be consistently, but he'll give you those nights. I think he's just gonna get better.
I hope you're right.
I like Avery Bradley a lot.
Yeah, that's a great pickup. And he kind of like did a
Primarily on defense too.
kind of
Those
like
guards
left
in the
room
West.
and came back
Mhm.
on some weird shit like that. Like no one really knows where he went last year or the year.
No, but he's back on the Lakers. He's probably gonna start.
Yeah.
I think it's just been crazy the fact that it's gonna be like prospectively Kawhi and LeBron in the Western Conference Finals, and whoever wins in the West is gonna win it. I mean, the West, that's been the narrative past like 10 plus 15 years.
Yeah, it's weird,
The
isn't
West
it?
is better than the East.
Right.
That's whatever. Even with the Miami years.
Yeah. It's like when did you start like really paying attention to basketball? Because I remember I came in like in 03, 04 when the tail end of the Lakers.
That's way
and
before
then the
me.
Detroit Pistons took over.
I came in, like I really took a note of basketball, probably like the LeBron's original run in Cleveland, probably like the last 2 years
Okay.
prior to him leaving.
All right.
So like maybe like 05, 06.
So ever since you've watched it, it's been like straight West domination.
Yeah, outside the Miami Heat years. Literally it. It's been all West.
I don't know, man. I can't call it. I don't have any predictions yet on the NBA Finals. I don't.
I don't even know who's going to be that good in the East. It's going to be like Milwaukee. That's going to be wild.
Well, is
Milwaukee
Ben
is there.
Simmons going to have a jump shot?
Yeah, I think he just got another couple of years before it develops. I mean, LeBron didn't have a jump shot until like what year 6, 7.
He could still shoot. Though. That's the thing.
Yeah, Ben Simmons can't shoot.
Ben Simmons, like
He can shoot off the court. He can't shoot on the court.
Yeah, it's like you leave this motherfucker open at 18 feet and he will not take it.
Brick.
Like, yeah. I don't know. The Sixers they're interesting. The Sixers have been really interesting in our lifetime because they've gone from everyone to AI to
$10 tickets with just Iggy on the team.
I saw them for $8 when I lived in Philadelphia. This is a true story. And I tell my mom this all the time and she thinks I'm lying. I was like, no, I saw them for $8. And I got comparable seats. Like it was good. Like it was I was sitting at it in like, like not courtside, obviously. But I was sitting in the area of the court that was like I could see the game, just fine. $8. They were playing the Timberwolves. I remember that. I think Karl Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins were maybe like rookies.
Karl Anthony Towns is soft.
He is, for the record.
For the record. And on that note, I think we get ready to wrap up here.
Yeah.
I think we should do another shot of Russian Standard to end this.
Yeah, we might as well.
And then,
it's right
any
there.
final comments, remarks you want to make, Harford?
No, I really appreciate you having me on. This is great.
I've had a fantastic
This
time,
feels less
frankly.
like a podcast and more just like of us and,
And
at Jilly's.
At Jilly's.
Speaking of, we got to go. We have to go there.
we
just
might go
see
to
what
Jilly's
it's
after this podcast wraps. Ship out rocks
like. Wow.
after dark. Boom. And that's it, folks.